What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here. Welcome to day 96 of the 365-day graphic novel review challenge. Today, I want to talk to you about Star Wars, Princess Leia and the Royal Ransom. Remember yesterday when I was talking about Darth Vader and the Lost Command, and I said I went to the library and they told me to go downstairs to the children's section, and that was where the two books I had put on hold were being held. And I did not know that the books I was putting on hold were necessarily children's books, even though, as I said yesterday, I don't really see any Star Wars story as being necessarily an adult book, but I also don't see Star Wars as being just for kids either. So I didn't know that this was going to be in the children's section, but I'm glad that I got this book because I really enjoyed it. It is a short story. It's not very long. It is longer than Darth Vader and the Lost Command. It's about 75 pages, so you'll breeze through this in less than an hour. I read it in one sitting. I didn't take any breaks reading this. And the basic plot here, this story is set in between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. And Han, Leia, and Chewbacca, they are going on a mission, and basically the entire conflict of this book is that Han and Leia are butting heads over how they should do things. Han wants to play fast and loose. He doesn't really like rules. He just kind of wants to do things the way he wants to do them. And he keeps arguing that Leia is way too by the book and she's too uptight and that she needs to loosen up and relax a little bit. So while they are taking a little bit of a side mission while they're out doing this thing for the Rebel Alliance, they're doing this thing that Han said he was going to do like 8 months ago, and that winds up biting them in the butt, and it kind of gets them into more trouble than what they're already in. They more or less accidentally help this gang of pirates kidnap this girl, or rather take her to another planet, because they had kidnapped this princess and they wanted to ransom her to her father, and so these guys get Han Solo to unwillingly or unknowingly help them kidnap this princess. And then Han and Leia, they find out that they have the princess, and then even more hijinks ensue. I don't really have a whole lot of issues with this book. It's a very fun little story. My biggest problem with it is that it is given to us as a Princess Leia story, but this is not Princess Leia's story. Princess Leia doesn't really do a whole lot until the last fourth of the book. This really feels a little bit more like a Han Solo story for the first chunk of this book, and it's not until the very end when Leia really does something to kind of influence how this story ends. But other than that, I would say if they just changed the title of this book to Star Wars: The Royal Ransom, I think that would have been fine, because this is not a Princess Leia Solo story. This is Princess Leia and Han Solo bickering with each other, and that's really the meat of this book. We get to see Princess Leia, and we get to see that she's willing to bend the rules a little bit. She's willing to play fast and loose, kind of like Han, and we see Han, and he's willing to kind of play a little bit by the book whenever he has to, or at least he says that that's what he's willing to do, but honestly, if you read this, he doesn't ever really do that. They're treating this like that thing in sitcoms where two characters are arguing and then they both realize that the other one has a point, and they're trying to treat it like that here, except that Leia kind of sees that Han has a point, but Han doesn't really do anything in the way that Leia would want him to do it. But it's a fun story. Like I said yesterday, this is something you could definitely give to your kid if you want them to read some Star Wars stuff after they've seen the movies. And it's fun. I enjoyed it. It is a good story with a good character arc. I just wish that they weren't selling this as a Princess Leia Solo story when that's not what it is. And I wouldn't mind reading a Princess Leia Solo story, but this is not that. This is a Star Wars story is what it is. A Han and Leia go on an adventure story. But that's about all that I have to say about this book. I really like the art. I really like the writing. It's very witty, very crisp. It's not too convoluted, not too confusing or muddled. I really like this story all around. So that's about all that I have to say about Star Wars, Princess Leia, The Royal Ransom. I hope that you guys liked this video, and if you did, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will be back tomorrow with another video. In the meantime, you guys have a great rest of the day. Catch you later.